let's go ahead and finish up this project. Some of you may have already gotten to this point. And you can see what I've done is actually pulled in the top, front, and right side view. I haven't added anything to it. The previous video I had a little problem with dimensioning. I think I've got that figured out, and also association of dimensions. So first of all, down at the bottom of your screen you'll see a padlock. Click that on, you'll see association. If this needs to be turned on, make sure there's a check mark in front of association. If it's blank, if it's like this, just left click on it and that becomes active. So we want the association turned on. That's what associates the dimensions to the referenced object as it comes in. Remember, we brought this in at 2 times its original size. And what I want to show you first is in this top view, haven't changed the label yet, we go to our level display and I want to select the top view reference file. You can see it's right here, top view 3D model primitive, and I want to turn off everything but the primary information, just the primary model. So I'm actually looking at the 3D. This is where I can import the dimensions for the object. Now that says radius, so I want to change this to the dimension of the diameter because it's a full circle. So there's 0.82. We'll put this dimension on 0.54, and we'll throw this one right in here, 0.38 for the center one. Okay, we'll do all our radiuses first. So we're going to go make sure we turn on center mark. I should have done that before, so I'll delete this dimension and just redo it with the center mark on, and that way it puts that center mark in the center of the circles. And now we'll do our radiuses, and you can see I don't want diameter now, so I slip it to radius form. So there's a radius of 0.19, and we got a radius of 0.19 down here. We've got radiuses for our corners, and we'll put those all on. We may notice that our center marks are overriding, so if we need to move our other dimensions, just go to your 7.1 modify element tool and you can just grab the text and move it up or down just to get it out of the way. So we don't want those center marks overlapping, but it's easy enough to go move those things after the fact. So all of our radiuses are actually done now. We don't have any on the other views. So what we're going to do now is turn back on the top view, and we'll just turn on 2D top view and turn off the primary model. So our radiuses and our elliptical dimensions are still there for our arcs, and we can continue now by putting some of our other linear dimensions on here. And I think what I'll do is put the width down here on the bottom one. There we go. And always remember to put your title down below your dimensions. Now, you can see that this drawing and this drawing still have what I call junk on them. So let's go look at our levels and turn off the stuff that we don't want to see. Front view, turn off everything but 2D front. And our right side view, turn off everything but 2D right. And see how that cleaned up all of this information? If we go back to our model tool, or model itself, and look at this right side view, you can see that what I want to do is take off, I want to just see everything but the right side view. So I'm going to turn off everything, make right side our, so that's our right side view. Let's turn it around to our front view. We'll turn off everything but the front view, so that's what we're looking at. We can look in here. See, there's some lines there that are kind of overlapping. You don't notice until you zoom in. The only line we want left is the one that lines up with this green, so this is actually showing all that curved mess in there. We don't need to see that, so we're just going to take it out. I've already changed these lines to yellow because they indicate the curve. So those will show up printed as a light line. Take this stuff out here. Just pan down, make sure we get all the garbage out of here. Very good. That looks good. We'll go back to our 8.5 by 11 view. Now you can see everything's nice and clean. We're going to go back and finish dimensioning off the overall height, the base height, and then we'll go right up to the top. I think that was 0.95. That's correct. We'll dimension this width. We want to go to the solid line. We never dimension to hidden lines. And I'll pull that up here. And then we'll go from this one to the base. Even though we put it in at 0.55, it ends up being 0.54 because of the cutoff on the radius. Over here we can actually put in the angle. We want to select this middle object, angle between lines. We want to find the angle between this line and this line. And come on. Doesn't like me. Try this way. Well, I think it would flip. We'll try it one more time. It wants to give me that angle. I'm going to go back to my model. I think it's because those are connected. Let's just tear them apart. So we'll do a drop element. So that becomes a line, two separate line segments. Now I'll go back to the, see if we can do the angle now. Middle tool. I don't think it has anything to do with the association. Oh. Angle between lines. Lost. This worked before. I'm not sure why it's not working now. Tools, dimensions, angular. Dimension angle from X. Well, we'll try that one, see what that does. That to that. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Don't ask me why it wasn't working in the other mode, but we'll just pull this out. So I'm just separating things so that they show up. So again, I went to Tools, Dimensions, and I used this dimension angular from the X side, or you could do it from the Y. So that tends to do the trick for us, I guess. Now, we have these hidden lines that show the depth of our drawing. I don't have my drawing right in front of me, so I'll just measure this depth. And it's 0.77 inches. Double check it over here. Oh, this is 2x though, isn't it? So, go back to our model, and we'll measure this one. This will give us the true dimensions. So, 0.38. Very good. So we'll go back to our sign. And what we're going to do is just put a note here. So we're going to put a note. Make sure our text style is set to 07, horizontal. You can drop this down. Leader type is a line. Inline leader. I think that's where somebody had asked me about getting inline leaders on some of these dimensions. That's where you need to turn it on. We're going to type in 0.38 inch counter bore. Let's type DP period for deep. We're going to put that right on this one. See how it puts that little leader on there? And then we're going to say drill through for this inner one. That's good. A couple other dimensions, we'll do them on this side. I want to dimension the width of our angle piece. Let's see. We can dimension from the low spot here, and then from the high spot. And we're going to edit our text. So this will be top, top view. Get the fingers on the right keys. There we go. Front view, and we'll say right side view. Now, even though the titles are a little out of alignment here, the views themselves line up straight up and down. So I spent a little time before I started dimensioning getting these things lined up the way I'd like to. We're going to change our title block text. This one's going to say 3D model exercise. We'll just change that to CT 120. Date is going to be 10/1/09. Scale is going to be 2x. Oops, not 2z, 2x. Now let me just review the printing process. We'll do a Control P. There we go. A little slow today. I'll do a File, select Bentley driver, and go to my utility directory. There's my printer. We're going to go to Pen Table, Attach. There's my pens. I'll take a quick look at it before I print it out to a PDF. Make sure everything looks kind of okay. Looks good. I think we've got everything. Yep, I think we're in good shape. Hit the print button. We're going to save this to our homework directory. It's going to be assignment 8. I think it's 8 or 9, whatever the next assignment is for you. Assignment 8. C. Junkins. Put your name in there. Hit save. I've got a folder for assignment 8 in the first class folder, so you can dump your homework in there, and then we'll get started on this next exercise. So this one's all done. What we're going to do is do a File. You'll notice one more thing. Let me just show you. If I go back to my primitive model, rotate this to a top view, turn all my levels on, and I take one side of this, and I'm gonna stretch this side. I just wanted to show you the just stretch it just a little bit. We'll go back to our 8.5 by 11, and what you'll see now is that the width, the dimensions automatically change, except I turned the association off on this angle. So That's why that didn't. When I was trying to figure out what was going on, I turned the association off when I turned that. Otherwise it would actually change the angle. So that's how it works. So you want the dimensions to be associated with the object. So if you do go make a change on something, everything changes, including your 2D elements. Alright, good. So now we'll do a fit view. I'm going to do a file, save as, and we're going to call this one Project 9 3D. So now we're in Project 9 3D up here. We're going to go back to our 3D primitive model. We're going to edit, select all, hit our delete key, clean it up. When I go back to my sheet file now, you'll notice that my dimensions don't have anything to associate, so they show up in this red hard line. And we'll just clean off all of those extra dimensions. And we'll start our next project. Back in assignment 3, we actually did a gear using the construct array tool. We're going to use that one to create our next 3D model. I want you to reference in. We're going to go right into our 3D primitive model. We're going to reference in a 2D drawing. So go to Attach. We're going to go to Assign Project 6. We're going to go to Gear Project 60 Tooth. It's going to be full scale, top view, 1:1 scale. Hit OK, and just left click on the screen. And when you do a fit view, there's your tool, your referenced tooth. So now that we have this in here, what we want to do is put this in our we'll put it in our primary, and it's a reference file. So we're going to take our reference to our selection tool, select the entire thing, and make a copy. Just pull it off to the right and left click. And what that did is it actually took whatever was in the reference file that I selected and copied it into the active file. So now when I come here, I can delete this reference file and I'm left with a copy of my gear tooth. So the first thing I want to do is make a shape out of this object. I'm assuming that all of my teeth are connected, or at least not connected, but all the lines touch. So if I come up here and do a create complex shape, set the method to automatic, and just left click on one of the lines. When I left click again, I'm going to set my maximum gap to 0 and see if that helps. There we go. And it's going to go all the way around. And then left click again. So when you go to move this object, you'll notice everything highlights. I don't want to actually move it. We also want to do the same thing down to this little gear tooth down here. So I'm going to take my select, create complex shape. So now this, whoops, didn't like me. Let's do it manually. See if that makes a difference. Shape close. Let me just see if I can move it. Yeah, the whole thing goes. Just when I highlighted it didn't want to go. So anyway, that's all one shape now. Alright, so here's what we need to do. We need to draw a profile of this object in 3D. So we're in a 3D model here. And what I want to do is just draw a line from the center point, hit the enter key, all the way to the outside edge, right to there. Okay? And I'm going to take that and I'm going to move it over here. So that indicates from a center point to outside edge. And then I want to flip this up on a front view. You can see on this side, this is our two-dimensional tooth. Everything is just flat, but this is our center line. This is where we're going to draw a profile. I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't actually done this, so we'll see how it goes. we're going to take our Smart Line tool and we're going to draw this. This is going to be 3/16 of an inch thick. So I'm going to go with a vertical line, 3/16. I'm going to bring it all the way out to the end, hit enter, and then we'll close it down here. This is the outside edge where the tooth is going to be. So what I want to do is chamfer this tooth, or chamfer it, not fill it, but I want to chamfer this with our 7W construct chamfer. Distance 1 is going to be 0.75 inches. Distance 2 is going to be 3/32 of an inch. Let's see what that does. Select first chamfer segment, second, and it might be too steep. So let's try 0.07 on distance 2. So we go here to here, and then we go here to here. So that's actually the profile of our gear. This is where the chain will actually go onto this piece. So what I want to do is I want to actually create a shape out of this piece. So we're going to take our construct complex shape again, set it to automatic, just left click on one line, left click again, you see how the whole thing kind of highlights, and you left click one more time. Do a fit view, and let's roll this up on an isometric. Okay. Now what I want to do is create a solid by doing a construct revolution of this shape that we just drew. Let's see how that goes. We're going to bring this up and go to our solids modeling tool. We're going to use R2 solid by revolution. We want it to go 360 degrees. Just left click here, left click again, and just left click one more time, so you're kind of making this saucer shape. And when we look at this as a illustration with shadows, we don't see this line sticking in here. When we look at it in a wireframe, we do see that. So is there a way we can fix that? Well, let's take a look and see. There's our top view. If I take this shape and do a rotate by 2 points, and I want to make a copy, just left click here and left click again right in the center and just pull it, so you end up with two of these pieces. Looks like a piece of pie, but it's actually two overlapping. If we boolean these together now, again I'm talking out my butt because I don't really know how this will work, you can see that now when you boolean them together you end up with a solid piece. It really has no line in there. It's actually a nice solid piece, so when we look at it again as an illustration, we're able to rotate this up. We can see the thickness, and what we want to do is try to cut this two-dimensional profile now out of that shape. Alright, good fun. Let's see if we can do it. We'll select both of these objects on the 2D object. I didn't think I'd boolean the difference between that, but maybe I did. We're going to grab that right by the center. Let's do a copy over. And we'll copy it straight over to this center. Oh, okay. So what we want to do is use that shape to cut this plate. So we're going to use our cut solid tool, cut in both directions all the way through, and let's split the solid. Okay, so there's my solid, there's my shape, left click again, hold your breath, processing, 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 left click. Now can I delete the outer portion of this? Does every tooth, which is okay. I can just delete, I can take my selection tool because it was so tight, the tolerances, and just select pieces of this now to remove those excess. Alright, very cool. Let's rotate it up, take a look at it. So now you see what we have is this nice sprocket piece. That we really didn't have to do a lot of work on to get it to work. I mean, I challenged some mechanical engineers to do the same thing as quickly as we just did it. Let's put that bore hole through the center. So if I just grab this piece, select it, take my copy tool, I'm going to copy that right over to the center, and now what we're going to do is cut that. This time we don't need to split the solid. We're just going to say take this object, cut it with that piece all the way through, and that's it. So we can actually delete this piece now and this piece and do a fit view. So we've actually got this nice three-dimensional sprocket that I'm pretty proud of. We were able to draw it in a relatively quick time, and now we need to export this to some two-dimensional excuse me, drawings so that we can start dimensioning this. Get our top view. We've already got a 2D top view set up on this seed file, so we'll just say File, Export, Visible Edges, View 1. Make sure our views match here, and our symbology is still set to active file for the output. Symbology is going to be 2D top view. I don't need to show any hidden lines because there really won't be any. And we can say, let's change it this time so this shows up as blue for our visible edges. Let's do a preview. There it is. You can see it's all blue on the outside. That looks good. We'll just say export. Okay. Let's rotate this up onto a front view. You can see our teeth in here. Now, what I think I'd like to do is maybe a cross section of this, and we haven't really played around with this too much. Let me see if we can do this. I'm going to bring up a separate view. This one is top view, and do a window tile, and this one's going to say front view and top view. We're going to go to settings, view attributes, settings, view attributes. We're going to set our clip back and our clip front on to all views. I think that's what I just did. View setup. Have to make sure it's assigned to both views, so I had to clip this down. So what we want to do is, we don't actually have the tool up here, so just right click on this toolbar and you want to say set display depth. So it says select view to there's your select, looks like a little TV screen. It says select view to display depth. I'm going to select this one. Come over in this view, and we want to see from our center point back, and I'm going to change this to well, let's just leave it that way. Now this is view 1, so we're going to say File, Export, Visible Edges. Whoops, come on. View 1 is view 1. Symbology, I just want to see the visible lines. Hit preview. It didn't cut it the way I wanted it to. I wanted to eliminate all the stuff in the center so we just see the tooth. close that out. Try it again here. Display depth, this view. Just want to go in like that. So I just cut a little slice right through it from the center back. Now we'll do a file, export, visible edges, say preview. That's what I want right there. So we can actually see the edge of that tooth. And I went right through the center so you can actually see the hole going through that. That's right, just say export. Oh crap. Wonder if I can do a Control Z. Symbology's wrong. 2D front view, even though it'll be a section. Preview, export. So hopefully we got it right. When you do a fit view, it automatically brings it back into the full shape. We can turn that off now. Now, what we want to do is go to our sheet file. And we can see some garbage here, but not to worry. Let's go look at our reference files. And we've got our top view there. We don't want a right side, so we're going to take that out. This is our right side. We got to figure out our scale. Let's say 1 to 2 would be a half scale. Do a fit view. That looks good. We'll move this top view over onto the screen. And we'll move this view over onto the screen just below it. For now. Do our fit view. Now if I come up here to my level display, come down to this front view, I only want to see 2D front. So that's, see how that eliminated all of the garbage in there, and all we're able to see is just kind of a cross section through that tooth. And what we'll call this is section. So this is actually going to be a section view through the center line of this tooth, and we're going to talk about section lines and how those work with the drawing itself. If we come up here to the top view, you can see the top view, all it has is just the top view turned on, which is perfect. Let's line up this bottom view, so we can just click that one, go to our reference tool again, and this front view we need to move it so that the edge of this tooth, or the edge of the center point, enter, is going to line up right here. So if I draw a line from this end point straight up, it should line right up with the end of that tooth, which it does. That's a good way to check it. So you remember originally we had on this a large size of the tooth. We're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to take this top view right here, and we're going to make a copy of it. Just bring it over here to the right. Take this front view, we're going to make a copy of that, and bring that one just over here. We're going to change this scale. Actually, we can actually put a fence around them. First of all, we're going to do the side tooth. So we're going to put a fence around this tooth right here. Okay. Make sure we're in the proper reference file, and then we're going to do a clip and a clip. Okay. Put another fence around the end of this tooth on the profile. Make sure we select the right one, and we'll do a clip and a clip. And now we're going to change the scale of these. This is 1 to 2. Let's change it to 2 to 1. And see, the fence portion stays there, so we can just move that now onto the drawing. Go to the top view, change that one 2 to 1, and we'll move that one onto the drawing. And what we want to do is move that so that the end of this tooth lines up with the end of this piece. So now we can see a profile and a top view of an exploded view of that tooth. And what I would do when we start drawing this up, we'll figure a way to get this labeled properly. Let's copy all these titles around. And we'll move this one up underneath the top view. So I think we're in pretty good shape. Now, I'm going to work this in my dimension directory, the color red. I'm just going to put a circle here. Actually, let's do an ellipse. So it'll probably give me more. Okay, there's an ellipse. I'm going to copy that ellipse. A little too small there. And I guess we'll be better off with a fence. I'm going to put a fence around this tooth. And we'll do a reference. And that's that one. Let's clip it again. Just make things smaller. And put another fence roughly the same size down here. And we'll reclip that one. Just make things look a little neater. So if I take this, we're going to place a box around this tooth. And we'll see if we can copy that box. Actually, I don't want to do that. It's just not going to leave me enough room for dimensions. Put a box right here and copy that box to the end of this tooth. So it's going to show the reader where we're pulling this information from. That'll work. Just juggle some stuff around. Now, again, this is a section view down here. So I need to put a really heavy line. So I'm going to use white. And right here from the center point, which is right there, just come out here, put the arrow up. This shows the direction that we're cutting this from. Then I'm just going to shorten this out to here. We're going to put a big black arrow right on this end. So say join the elements, hit V, and I want it to look nice, so I'm going to just use a mirror tool to mirror that to the other side so everything's equal. If I actually take this and make it a complex shape and say fill type opaque, I can select this and select this, and with your settings for your view attributes are set so that it shows the fill, it gives you that nice dark arrow. So again, I went to settings, view attribute, turned on fill, so any solid shape that has an opaqueness to it will show up as fill. Take this entire piece now and mirror it to the other side. Not sure why it's not giving me a center point. And you can see my box is in the wrong spot here. So I'll just take and move this up. I had it on the wrong tooth. There we go. Alright. Anytime there's a cross section or section taken out, what this drawing shows is like taking a knife right through the object and splitting it. So when we do that, we generally show some cross-hatching in here. Cross-hatching is R1 hatch area. Our spacing is going to be, we'll say, 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch at 45 degrees. And we can just have it flood the area. And I want to do this in red. And let's actually make a level for hatching in case we want to turn it off at some point. So we'll say a new level called hatching. Make that the active level in red. We're just going to flood this area and flood this area, flood this area, and flood this area, and one more right there. Come on. I guess there's no lines right there. But that does indicate that you've hatched through this, meaning it's a cut right through the object. So now I think we're ready to start dimensioning this. Let's change our text. This is going to say section A-A. Delete the rest of this. This one's going to be plan view, or top view, I guess. Plan view. Well, top view works more for mechanical, so we'll say top view. This one's going to be, say, enlarged tooth top, enlarged tooth section. Okay. I think now we can start dimensioning. We've got these dimensions in the middle, so if I go back to my level display, just like we did on the previous one, I look at this top view, turn on my primary, and turn off 2D top, then I'm left with the 3D object, because I want to be able to dimension this center post. It's not really a full piece, so we're going to give it a radius, 0.5 inch. This inner tooth section, we can put a diameter on that one. Make sure it's got a center mark. That should do that. Now we can turn off primary, turn on 2D top. Beautiful. And we can start dimensioning some of these other items. Overall width is going to be from the end of this tooth to the end of this tooth, 11.04 inches. So that would be the overall diameter. Down here we've got the thickness, 0.09 inches. And the rest of this information we can pull right off. Let's just do an overall from end, see if it gives us the same number. 11.04 and 11.04, so that matches. Now we come over here to this drawing for our tooth, and again I think we want to turn on, oops, didn't mean to do that. Go to top here, turn on the primary, turn off the 2D top, because we got a couple little radiuses right here that we need to put a dimension on. So this one, well, maybe it's not, yeah, that's a radius. Maybe we didn't, not picking it up. Element not valid for tool. What kind of an element is it? Use the identification. Ah, it's a smart solid. It should still pick up a radius, wouldn't you think? Let's go back to our dimension tool, see if there's another way. Dimension radial. Let's use radius. It's pulling it up as a B-spline, so you might have to measure that out. So we'll just we'll eliminate that portion of it right now. I'm sure there's a way we could go figure it out. We'll just put some overall dimensions on here. We're going to draw a horizontal line here, horizontal line here. We'll put our angles in. Put a dimension, width of the tooth 0.011, width of the tooth on this side. Now let's try that angle tool. See if it'll work here. Yeah, always wants to, oops, did it go? There we go. 11.3099, 21.8014. Nice. We'll come down here. I'm going to draw a little break line. Break line just indicates that it's a section off the end of the tooth. Come straight down. We can put our dimensions for the overall width, 0.19. Length of the tooth, 0.75. And again, we'll do the angle of the tooth, just like we did before. .332 inches. I don't know why I jumped that back, but I want it out here. There we go. Again, use your 7-1 tool to modify that. So with that, we've pretty much got this gear tooth taken care of. We got our cross sections. We need 2 letters up here. Letter A. Not quite so big though. It's probably 0.12. There we go. This is where we get the section AA designation. You could have multiple sections through here. If we look down here, we could probably add a couple of red lines, and where the keyway comes down, in the background we'd see that. I'm going to use the IntelliTrim. There. Not bad for 15 or 20 minutes. So let's go over here. We're just going to change the text. This one's going to say 3D gear model. We'll call this one 60 tooth. Gear. Scale is as noted. So then we need to type some scales out here. I'll just grab this text right here, place it underneath this detail and one under here, and then we'll change that text to read, this one's going to be scale half, and this one's going to be scale 2x. Okay. Then we could also do, I guess we could do the hatching here also to show that it's a section taken through that tooth object. And I think we've pretty much covered it. So we're looking at a large tooth on the top, a large section of a tooth, overall section AA, a plan view, think we've pretty much described this this tooth enough to build it. We just would need to tell somebody what kind of steel or aluminum it was going to be built from. We neglected to put the dimensions for the keyway, and I think that pretty much covers it. We'll do a Control P. We're going to do a File, select Bentley driver. I'm going to go to my utility directory. Whoops, wrong folder. There we go. Utilities, there's my printer. Pen table, attach. There's my pens. I'll take a quick look. Yep, looks good. We'll close that out and do a print. We're going to put this in our homework directory. As soon as my computer decides to start, seems to always do this. There we go. My document, CT, homework. This one's going to be called Assignment 9. And we'll save it. It's all done. Minimize MicroStation. We're going to go take a quick look and just make sure everything is okay. And my documents, my program, my homework, assignment 9 CJ, only 43 kilobytes, not bad. Think it would come up quicker at that, but we'll see. And there it is. I think it took a while because my machine was. And what I would like to do is just zoom in, take a look at my line weights. Looks good, looks good. Yep. Everything's good. Exit out of here. Exit out of here. Hit MicroStation again. I can exit out of there. There'll be a homework folder 9 in the first class folder. Final words, do not procrastinate. Thank you.